Yo, what's going on, man? Today is April the 12th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show. I'm live on Twitter right now. I'm also live on YouTube. Y'all do me a favor and hit the like button as you guys join. Always helps me out. Um, I'll just say it always helps me out, man. Appreciate all the supporters, everybody that's kind of tapping in with me on a daily basis, kind of cashing tickets, using my analysis to cash, providing insight and analysis for things for me to look at, and then your plays cash as well. It's all a community here, man. It's always been a community. It's always been, let's take the money from the books, let's be profitable, let's put in good bets, let's put in bets that's gonna win, and let's keep cashing, man. That's what it's always about. So. Um, Real quick, I want to shout out my members. A couple new people joined. Shout out to Stefan McCaughlin, and shout out to Damian J as well, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in and joining. I'm not sure which tier you guys joined at, but I appreciate it either way, man. Shout out to my guy Sean, here with me every single day. Kenneth in the chat, yo, what's going on, Kenneth? Ryan, Captain Zach, everybody in the chat early, man. Canadian Cam in the chat. Big game tonight for his Toronto Raptors. But he's talking about Conley and how Conley had a big night last night. We got a lot to talk about, man. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So yesterday I talked about not having any official plays. It was nothing that I put my hard-earned money on. But a lot of things that we talked about in this, in the space yesterday, on the show yesterday, did cash. So I guess I'm going to have to start playing some of my player props because I'm not 100% confident in these player props, but they cash. So maybe I need to start, putting a little money behind them. Yesterday I talked about, in the first game, I talked about Jimmy Butler over the 6.5 assists. My favorite lean in that game. Jimmy finished with 9 assists. I also talked about Clint Capella going over 9.5 points. He did not cash, but he smashed his rebounds number. And then I also talked about Kyle Anderson over his 13.5 rebounds and assists. That cashed pretty easily. And top lean, like I said, it wasn't an official play. It was Mike Conley to go over the 2.5 threes at, I think it was like plus 134. And I see some people DM me, some people added me yesterday and cashed that play. So congratulations to everybody who cashed that. Like I said, it wasn't an official play for me. All my official plays will be shared on my page, on my YouTube page. But then I also share those picks here as well. So I want to make sure that I'm being transparent with people and people understand what I say when I say this. So there's 2 different tiers to joining as a member on my page. And I just want to get this out first real quick because I did get a couple DMs and people kind of asking what the difference is. So it's 2 different tiers of joining my YouTube page. The first tier is the supporter tier, right? So if you're a supporter, you're someone that's been, probably rocking with me for, a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months throughout this NBA season. Maybe you've been with me since the beginning when I started doing these shows in December of 2021. And that's just, to show some support, show some appreciation. What you get as a tier, as a supporter tier, is $2.99 a month. You get loyalty badges when you come into the chat. If you guys look into the chat, you guys will see the members have loyalty badges besides their name. You also get custom emojis during live chats. You get priority replies during live YouTube videos as well. So if you guys have questions or play, you get those as well. And then there will be a members only chat room as well that I'll kind of be just going through my thoughts, analysis, and everybody else will be able to kind of share what it is that they want to share as well. That's the supporter tier, $2.99 a month. The ChrisBeCappinn community tier is the $5.99 tier a month. That comes with all the perks that I just mentioned. So you get the loyalty badges, the custom emojis, the priority to the live YouTube videos, the member only chat as well, and you also get member only live stream. So that's when I drop the plays. You guys will get them before everybody else do. The official picks. So if I make a video and I make a video tonight about a play that I like tomorrow, you guys will have access to that first. Those videos will eventually go public, but it might not be at the same line, right? You might get a better line by going ahead and putting the bet in early. And then I talked about the t-shirts as well, the discounted merch that you guys will have access to once I get the t-shirts up and loaded to my YouTube page, which I haven't done so yet. So t-shirts will be $15. If anybody wants to grab a t-shirt, when I was selling them originally, they were $30 with shipping included. But they'll be $15 for anybody who wants to grab a T-shirt. So that's the difference between the two. Official picks mean in the ChrisBeCappinn community tier package for $5.99 mean that you get access to the place first. I'm still gonna be sharing all my looks. Like I said this the other day. There's always gonna be people that don't want to play, don't want to pay. Always gonna just be trying to find as much as they possibly can for free, which I'm totally fine with. Right? I started this to kind of help people out, but it's a long season, man. I do these shows every single day, 2 shows a day, 3 shows a day sometimes. And it's taxing, right? It's a grind, right? I have a life outside of doing this as well. So now that I kind of went over that, I want to jump right into the 2 games that we have today, kind of let you guys know what I'm looking at. So yesterday we saw the Hawks beat the Heat. Just a quick recap. We saw the Hawks beat the Heat as 5.5 point dogs. Total stayed under. We also saw the Lakers need overtime, which is I don't know if you guys can tell I'm tired, but I am tired because I stayed up and watched that game like I said I would last night. And I am pretty tired today because I watched that whole game. And shout out to AD for making it go a little bit longer by fouling Mike Conley and sending it to overtime. So I lost an extra few minutes of sleep as well. Lakers did win the game, though, in overtime. They didn't cover the spread. The game also stayed under the 232, 233, whatever that number was. The game stayed under. So yesterday I touched on this just a tad bit, but totals in play-in games now are 8-0 to the under if you go back to last season. So last season there were 6 play-in games. All 6 of those games went under. So that's the first round, second round of the play-in, and the last game as well. And then this season so far, of course, the 2 games we had last night both went under total as well. And if you guys have had a chance to watch either one of these games yesterday, you see the intensity pick up a lot in those games. So I like the unders. I like the unders today, and I'll kind of get into which one I played of the 2. But just kind of giving you guys some information and kind of breaking these games down. The Bulls and the Raptors game is a difficult one for me, and I'll go there first. That is the first game that we have. So let me see if I can get a banner made real quick, because I probably did this already. Bulls will be in Toronto taking on the Raptors today. I think the line, let me just check and make sure. I want to say the line is still so it's up to 6 now. The Raptors have turned into 6-point favorites. The total is all the way down to 212.5. So a lot of money coming in on the under. This total actually opened on Sunday. Excuse me. Opened on Sunday at 217. So 4.5 points is dropped altogether. Really, really close to. I was really, really close to getting there. I didn't put the total in at 212.5. To me, that number is just a tad bit too low. But I'll tell you guys this. One of the things I looked at, just kind of looking at these teams, tailored 2 teams for both of these teams, and I've been kind of looking at that throughout the entirety of this. When I'm kind of capping these games, I talked about it yesterday with the Heat. Since they got Kevin Love, the defense is kind of spiraled off a cliff, and we saw that yesterday with the Hawks just being able to get pretty much whatever it is that they want on the offensive end. And then the same thing with the Hawks. They got rid of Coach Nate McMillan. They bought in Quinn Snyder, and their offense has been a little bit better. They are pushing the ball, playing with a lot more pace. And it's the same thing, right, with this Bulls and the Raptors team. So the Bulls, we know they made look like they were kind of dead in the water, and they brought in Patrick Beverley. He kind of reignited this team and got them into play in contention. We saw them win some big games. They had big wins against the Lakers, big wins against the Denver Nuggets. In Denver, they play well in a couple of these spots, specifically as dogs as well, right? And you could also say the same thing about the Toronto Raptors on the opposite side. The Raptors are a team that they rely heavily on their defense. They play at extremely slow pace, bottom 5 in the league. Don't have a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket. They are a bottom 5 effective field goal percentage shooting team in the NBA. So looking at this game, I don't think that I want to necessarily lay 6 points with this team. I think that's a tad bit too many points. The books are telling you that they think the Bulls are going to win this game. The Raptors are going to win this game by 3 possessions. 6 points is 2 3-pointers, or more so than likely 3 possessions, 2 or 3, and another field goal as well. So to me, that feels like a tad bit too many. I'll also say this: the the Raptors were. Hold on, let me start over. The Miami Heat were dogs yesterday, catching a number that was very similar, and they won the game outright. The Timberwolves was also big dogs yesterday. They both covered. The Timberwolves lost their game, of course, but they did cover the spread. And the same thing happened with Atlanta. They won the game and covered the spread as well. So not into just kind of laying the points with the favorites in this spot. I will say this, that Toronto has been playing extremely well post All-Star break as a home favorite. They've had some favorable matchups, but they've been capitalizing in those matchups. So I'll just go back and kind of read some of these. They had the addition of Jakob Poeltl. He's really kind of transformed this defense. One of the Toronto Raptors' biggest problems they've had throughout the regular season, at least in my estimation, is their ability to be able to kind of protect the rim. A lot of those guys were hurt throughout the season, whether it was Fred VanVleet or Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby. It feels like everybody, Gary Trent Jr., all those guys have been kind of in and out of the lineup. Even, the guys like Precious Achiuwa off the bench, Kim Birch when he was on the team. A lot of those guys, just in and out of the rotation. But this team did kind of put it together late in the season. And I think that's one of the reasons why they are, favorites of the magnitude that they are today. Because 6 points is a lot, like I said. But since the All-Star break, this team did beat the Pelicans as a home favorite. It was the first game after the All-Star break. They won that game 115-110. They covered the spread. They beat the Bulls 104-98. Team that they'll be playing tonight, they were laying 4.5 points in that spot. Total of 219. That game went under. And they covered the spread in that one. They beat the Raptors. They beat the Thunder 128-111. Won that game, covered the spread. Timberwolves got the Timberwolves on the second leg of a back-to-back. Won that game and covered the spread as well. They lost to the Pacers in a game where they, most likely should have won, but Pacers kind of caught them slipping. They beat the Pistons, the Wizards, the Heat, and the Bucks all in the last game of the season. Not a lot to play for in that situation. But pretty impressive wins otherwise. You can kind of rule out the Wizards loss. The Wizards win and the Pistons win. You can kind of nitpick at those because the Pistons are the Pistons, not trying to win, and the Wizards were already in tank mode as well. But this team did go, just looking at what I just told you guys, 8-1 straight up, 7-1-1 against the spread, depending on where you got the number, winning those games by average of 9 points. So I understand the point spread, but this is a do or die type game, right? Both of these teams are going to leave everything that they have on the floor because at the end of the day, somebody going to Cancun at the end of the day, right? Like the season ends tonight for one of these teams, not like last night where you had two games where you had 7 versus 8 seed. So if I'm playing aside, I am taking the points with the Bulls in this one. It feels like a game that if Toronto, doesn't, if Toronto isn't able to make their shots, then they could struggle in this game. I will say this. We saw this come into play yesterday. The better rebounding team in the playoffs, rebounding and defense is what wins in the playoffs. Because it's gonna keep you in the game. We saw that with the Lakers, kind of falling behind last night. The Lakers they rebounded the ball better yesterday, and they played the better defense at the end, or at least they played defense to kind of keep them in the game. The Raptors are the much better rebounding team. That's what scares me from taking the points with the Bulls. The Raptors are by far the better rebounding team. I had the Bulls as bottom 7 rebounding. In the second half of the season, where the Raptors are like kind of dead middle. So the Raptors have more size as well. We know that the Bulls rely a lot on guys like Vucevic and Patrick Williams, kind of undersized guys to do a lot of their rebounding. So if I'm playing the side, like I said, I don't have a play on the side, but I kind of want to take the points with the Bulls in this one. The total is dropped way too low. I don't play totals even if I like it, I'm not going to play it when I've lost, 4.5 points of value. But I do think that this game could potentially go under anyway, even though the total has dropped. You look at a couple things I looked at were the Raptors 3-0-1 against the spread. A couple trends 3-0-1 against the spread after the All-Star break versus a team that they have a better win percentage than. They're also 7-3-1 to the under when they're playing at home with a total of 220 points or less. And those games are only averaging about 211 points. On the opposite side, you look at the Bulls, they're 4-3 to the under post All-Star break as road dogs. Those games are also staying under by an average of 6.5 points per contest, but they average about 215 points. Bulls and the Raptors have also played 3 times throughout the entirety of the season. with all three of those games going under, and those games are staying under by average of 11 points per game as well. Also, just thinking about the teams that are playing, Toronto ranks 29th in pace throughout the last 5 games of the season. Throughout the entirety of the league, they rank bottom 5. Chicago, bottom 10 in the league in last 5 games, as far as pace as well. And like I mentioned in the beginning, since the start of the play-in of last season, totals are 8-0 to the under. So I think if you're looking at props, it's going to be another, and I kind of want to transition to props because it is a couple that I like. If you're looking at, that's from a side, I still lean under. I'm not playing it, and I would take the points with the Bulls, but I'm not playing that either. Those are just my thoughts. As I transition into player props, I just kind of mentioned the total dropping from 217 all the way down to 212.5. To me, that tells me that the game is going to be played at a slow pace. There's going to be a lot of defense, and you're paying a premium if you want to take these players to go over their player prop. I think we saw it, kind of yesterday. I don't think AD hit his player prop last night against the Timberwolves. I think he finished with 24. Jimmy Butler didn't get his player prop, the highest player prop for his team as well. I don't even think DeJounte Murray got to his 20. I think he finished at right about 18 or 19. So what I'll say to you guys, and you kind of jot this down in your notes section in the back of your memory, whatever the case, is when it comes to the playoffs, you want to start targeting rebounds and you want to start targeting assists. Maybe rebounds and assists, so RA lines, or you want to start targeting defensive props, so steal props, block props, stocks is what people are calling them, steals plus blocks. When you kind of pair them together, and you can get a line at 1.5 or 2.5. So those would be where I kind of transition to. Yesterday, a good one was Kyle Anderson. I talked about that 13.5 rebounds plus assist line for him. Somebody that's gonna have the ball in their hands a lot throughout the entirety of the game. So I just wanted to kind of lead with that. As far as player props that I really like in this game, and there are, I feel like there's a ton of value. So I'm gonna hurry up and get through this so I can kind of open it up and let everybody else kind of share what it is that they want to share. But Patrick Williams stands out to me. I did a show with my guy Munov earlier on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and kind of broke down some of these props. So I'll tell you guys what I like about Patrick Williams. First of all, I think it was Frag yesterday who talked about buying low on some of these players and taking some of these role players that we know are going to get, extensive minutes, right? So a guy like Patrick Williams, his line's only sitting at 7.5. He most likely probably won't start the game. Well, I won't say most likely probably won't. He most likely won't start the game, but chances are he's going to be out there for his defense, and he's going to play big minutes. Because of the other guys that he's going to have to, defend. I'm pretty sure they'll put Patrick Williams on, on a guy like Siakam throughout the night. And I went back and looked at it. He's played 25 minutes, 22 minutes, and 29 minutes in his 3 games versus the Raptors this season. He scored 8, 10, and 13 points in each one of those games. So he's 3 for 3 to the number over the 7.5 points. In his last 4 meaningful games, I kind of took the last game of the season out where he didn't play his normal minutes because the game, just really wasn't that meaningful. And it's in the 4 last meaningful games that he played in, he did play between 26 to 37 minutes in those games. So I'm not really worried about, his minutes for tonight. I think his defense puts him on the floor in a game that I do expect to be kind of played on the defensive end. Also, I just like that he's not going to garner that much attention, right? I think that the Raptors are more so going to be trying to figure out how to slow down LaVine and DeRozan. So a guy like Patrick Williams should be able to go over his 7.5 points. Last but not least, he has at least 8 shot attempts in 6 of his last 7 meaningful games as well. And he's cleared the 7.5 in 5 of those last 7 games as well. So I think it's a perfect buy low spot for a guy like Patrick Williams. If you're telling me that he's going to take 7 shots and all I need is 8 points, I'm cool with that, right? Maybe even a ladder to 10. I probably won't play it, but I could see, excuse me, I can see Patrick Williams going over, over this 7.5 and maybe even getting the 10 points for some plus money. The next player prop I want to talk about just a tad bit is Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl points are sitting at 11.5. When I played it earlier, it was minus 104. Jakob Poeltl is another guy that's going to be on the floor for his defense, right? I just kind of talked about his ability to be able to protect the rim. He'll also have to defend a guy like Nikola Vucevic tonight, who can get hot as well. And he'll be out there for his rebounding because that's what the Raptors can kind of struggle with. So Historically, Jakob Poeltl has played very well against Chicago. 8 games of at least 12 points versus this team. And he's had 1 with Toronto since he joined them mid-season after the trade with the Spurs, and 7 in a row dating back to when he was actually on the Spurs. So 8 altogether, 7 in a row on the Spurs, and then 1 in Toronto. In his last 8 games for Chicago, he's attempted at least 9 shot attempts in all of the games. And they typically come at the rim. I just talked about how Chicago struggled to rebound the ball, so I expect a lot of easy stickbacks for him tonight. And I think the Bulls, I talked about this, 7th worst rebounding team. So he should be able to get the ball, little, couple pick and rolls, couple putbacks. I think Jakob Poeltl could get 12 points tonight in this game, and I like that one in as well. And then on the opposite side, so Jakob Poeltl points, but Vucevic rebounds. I like Vucevic rebounds. This could be the potential ladder. I didn't ladder it, if I'm being transparent with you guys, but I think this could be the ladder spot. Yesterday, Capella rebounds, I think, was 9.5, 10.5, and he finished with 21. The total for this game is lower than the total for yesterday. And Vucevic is arguably, just as good of a rebounder as Clint Capella is. He actually finished 8th in rebounding, throughout the entirety of the season, with everybody included. So I talked about the total dropping. I think it's a clear indication that this game's going to be won on the defensive end. Defense typically leads to more rebounds as well. And like I said, Vucevic has led this team in rebounding. He finished 8th overall out of all the players, averaging what he would need in this game, which is 11 rebounds on the dot. He averaged that on the season. Versus Toronto specifically, he did have a dud in his last game, only grabbing 5. But before that, he had 5 games where he had at least 12 rebounds in a row versus the Raptors. And it just feels like a big game from Vucevic tonight. I like Vucevic rebounds in this spot a lot. So I did take his rebounds at 10.5 in this game as well. And those are my thoughts in this game. I also have a little look towards I didn't play this yet. I was trying to do a little bit more research on it. Just didn't find the time. DeRozan. I think DeRozan struggles tonight, man. I know he's back in Toronto. I know, there's the revenge narrative there. But man, I think OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes are very, very good defenders. The revenge narrative, we got to kind of put that on pause. I know a lot of people like to think about the revenge game. D'Angelo Russell plays for the Lakers now. He was traded from the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yesterday, last night, I thought D'Angelo Russell was playing for the Timberwolves. He wasn't making any shots for my team. I think he went something like 1 for 9. Wasn't hitting the side of the backboard. I just kind of want to throw out the whole revenge narrative thing, because it's not always applicable in all of these games. So for that reason, I think DeMar DeRozan, I would probably look at his points plus assists to go under. This doesn't feel like a game where a lot of assists are going to happen. Chicago, I want to say, is one of the teams in the NBA that actually is at the bottom as far as assist ratio. Let me check that real quick, make sure I'm not giving you guys some crazy stat. They're actually middle of the pack, so 13th. As far as assist percentage, Chicago is bottom 7. So yeah, I was right. So they don't get a lot of, they play a lot of ISO basketball, a lot of, one-on-one basketball. So I'd be looking at DeRozan to go under. I think DeRozan has a really, really tough matchup tonight. Both him and what's the light-skinned kid name? Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine and DeRozan have a really, really difficult matchup tonight. I like both of those to go under. Real quick in the comment section before I go on to the next game, I kind of want to catch up real quick. So I see Jeffrey says something about Fred VanVleet to go under his 18.5 points. Fred VanVleet is a boom or bust type player. He will most likely draw Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley has been a pretty lockdown defender against Fred VanVleet in his career. The Bulls are also, I think, allowing the 5th least points to maybe 1st least points. I looked at it earlier. Let me double check it real quick. So over the course of the last 7 games, the Bulls have picked it up. They're actually allowing the least amount of points to point guards throughout the last 7 games in the NBA. So I couldn't talk anybody off. Like I said, if you're playing a lot of overs, best of luck, because I think a lot of these games go under today. I couldn't talk anybody off Fred VanVleet points to go under. Let me see what I missed in the chat real quick, and then I'll get into the next game. And then after that, I'll kick it to you. I'll kick it to anybody who wants to share. If you guys just joined, do me a favor, a big favor, and hit the like button for me. Show some support to the channel. I always appreciate you guys for that. So going through the comment section real quick, I'll try to skim through these. I'm gonna start off and say this is Jada Noob. He says I'm gonna start off and say SGA assists plus rebounds looks like money. It's at 10.5. Okay, I didn't evaluate that at all, Jay. So I hope you cash it, man. If you like it and you played it. What's up, Andrew? How do I get you plays I join? So Ryan, I made a video earlier, a members only video earlier. You should be able to access that if you go into my YouTube page and go in the community. It should be a new video that says members only. I'm gonna open that up to everybody, but I wanted to get it out to the people who, support the most first. It'll be open to everybody, but that's where you should be able to access that. Michael says, how do I join? You guys can shoot me a DM if you want to join. It also should be a link that you guys should be able to see that says join as well. And I'll also post it real quick for people who do want to join. And it won't take long. So I'll just post this real quick. Anybody who wants to join, I just posted the link in the chat. So it's there for you guys. Kenneth says, good call on Mike Conley. Yeah, he's a Laker killer, man. That guy hates us. It's definitely a Laker killer. Coop said Laker T-Wolves plus 8.5. Mike Conley is a Laker killer. Yeah, good action last night, Coop, on the Timberwolves plus 8.5, man. I didn't know if they were going to be able to keep it close, but they did. Ran out of offense late. You can kind of tell. And I think Anthony Edwards is hurt because he doesn't play that bad, especially in a meaningful game like that. You see him put the little tape on his shoulder. I think it was his left shoulder, but needless to say, I think he's not. I don't think he's 100%. Let's see what else. Sid says he needs a hat. If you need a hat, Sid, I got you, man. Just shoot me a DM. I'll ship the hat to you before the weekends. Coop says he's joining on Sunday. Appreciate you, Coop. Maybe a live bet under 218. If the total goes up, Alex, in this first game, if it ever touches anything like 220, I will be on the under in this game. What I will say to you guys, and if you guys have been watching the play-in games, teams can come out with a lot of energy early, but you exert a lot of energy throughout the game. So first half over, second half to go under is a pretty good bet, which would mean that you would take a live line during the game for the game to go under. If the total is at 212 right now, 213, and the total goes up to about 220, I probably will be looking towards an under. Again, I said this yesterday. I didn't tweet anything out. I didn't share anything within the YouTube community. But if I see a live line that I like, it's going to be at the end of a quarter, so everybody can hopefully can get it in if you're near your phone. I will be sharing live looks if I do play anything tonight as well. Okay, Coop says since the Bulls and Raptors game could be a slow-paced defensive battle, love OG and Caruso for 2 steals parlayed at plus 478. Could not talk you off of that, Coop. And shout out to my guy Munov. When we did the show earlier, he was on Caruso over 1.5 steals plus blocks, something that he's 3-0 to the over on as well. So if you guys want to tell, shout out to my guy Munov. I like that play a lot for Caruso tonight. He's only out there to play defense, right? He's going to be, all up in guys like Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet throughout the entirety of the night. We'll try to make it really, really difficult for those guys, and that's what he brings to the table. So I like it. Captain Zach said Patrick Beverly and OG Anunoby to get a steal is minus 108 on FanDuel if you parlay the 2. They both have gotten at least 1 steal in 8 of the last 10 games. I appreciate you sharing that information, Cap. Let's see what else. Uncut said the Raptors are number 2 in the league for offensive rebounds, 12.7 rebounds per game. And Chicago is 29th in offensive rebounds at 7.5. But defense, Chicago is 9th, 33.9 rebounds per game. Toronto is 30th in the league at 32.7 rebounds per on defense. So Uncut, what I would say to you is, while these are really good numbers, I would filter those to the second half of the season, just because both teams did kind of change just a tad bit. I think when you think about rebounding for Toronto, you have to add in the addition of a guy Jakob Poeltl, who brings a lot more, defensive rebound and intensity towards that team. And their defensive rating with him on and off the floor has been tremendously different throughout the entirety of his tenure since he's been back there throughout the second half of the season. Damian says CJ over 4.5 assists. Another play that my guy Munoz was on. Could not talk you off. Sub AOD. Bruce says first quarter over 51.5 seems like a low total. I would not touch it, Bruce. If the first quarter ends 21-20, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If you like to overtake it, I'm not against you, but I see this game starting off slow. It could potentially go over, and then the rest of the game goes under. I can see that as well, Bruce, but I'm not touching the total. I like to kind of get a feel for these games before I play them, so I'm not gonna touch the first quarter total. But if you feel like you love it, Bruce, play it. If you like it, just kind of sit on the sideline. You don't have to play it. Cam said he loves. He's on Zach LaVine under 25.5. OG going to have him in jail tonight. Uncut is talking about the Pelicans game, so we'll come back to that one. Coop says DeRozan rebounds and assists. Maybe his rebounds and assists. Coop, he could get there on the rebounds for sure. Ramatic said DeRozan doesn't perform where you think he should and would. Yeah, he's had some no-show games for sure. John said SGA under 32.5. And then I think I'm caught up for the most part. Minus 115 for Jakob Poeltl, 1 block parlay with Caruso, 1 steal. Easy money said that. Okay. Write me down for it. Okay. I'll write it down. I got you. What is that? That's Poeltl 1 block. And Caruso 1 steal. Got you. Easy money. Okay. Got it written down. How do you feel about Gary Trent Jr.? I haven't really looked into him too much, Sean. He's a boom or bust type player, man. Somebody talked about Gary Trent Jr. a couple weeks ago, and I told him, I said, if you take Gary Trent Jr., I don't know if people were watching the show, but I said, if you take Gary Trent Jr., if you like him, go ahead and ladder him, because he's a guy that's going to score 7 points or, potentially score 20. So he could, kind of fall in between the two. So I didn't look too much into it, Sean. Don't want to give you too much analysis on something that I didn't deep dive into. What do I get your plays for today? Ryan says, I think I addressed that already, Ryan, but they should be in the community section on the page. Excuse me. My guy Courtney joined. Appreciate you, Courtney. Shout out to you, man. Jay Fowle said Jakob Poeltl 12 points, Williams 8 points, DeRozan under 23, LaVine under 26, Vucevic 10 rebounds, Jakob Poeltl 8 rebounds, Vucevic 15 points. Parlayed together is 20 plus 25, 30. I wouldn't mind putting a little sprinkle on that. Way too many plays for me, but I like all of those looks. I don't know if I don't parlay way too many looks, but I do think that I like all of those looks for sure. All of these are within the averages of 3 games that the Bulls played the Raptors. Okay. Lance said, sup, Chris? Babe points and assists was free. Today I'm on Jakob Poeltl. Points and assists at 13.5. Patrick Williams over 7.5 points. My 2-piece. What you feeling? I like it. I talked about Patrick Williams. I'm on him as well. Over 7.5 points. I hope he get there for the both of us tonight. What about Vucevic points over? I couldn't talk you off, Marquise. I think because, DeRozan and LaVine should struggle tonight. And if they do, Vucevic should be one of the guys that have to step up and contribute a little bit more on the offensive end. So I couldn't talk you off at all. I didn't play him, but I couldn't talk you off. Patrick Williams over 2.5 rebounds. He doesn't really rebound the ball a lot. I looked into his rebounds. Could he get there? Absolutely. But I just didn't like what I saw when I looked at his rebound numbers. And I think a part of that is because of who he's guarding. If Patrick Williams is guarding DeRozan or he's guarding Zach LaVine, it's really difficult to guard those guys, then get back in the rebounding position as well, right? And I'll kind of talk about that as I transition into the next game on one of my player props that I like in the next game as well. Let's see. I mean, y'all going crazy in the chat. I'm trying to keep up, man. Let's see. All right, cool. All right, so that's the first game. Let's jump into the second game really quickly. So in the second game, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder traveling to take on the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. So we got Thunder make the banner real quick. First Pelicans. Spread is 5.5 in favor of the Pelicans, and the total has come down some to 226.5. I think when I talked about this total this morning, it was at 228. It might have been 227 as well. And in the play for today, for everybody that's watching, what I played as my favorite play of the day was actually I'm not sure what noise my mic is making either, Traps. I see you said that, and somebody else said that they hear a buzzing sound. I'm not sure exactly what that is. All of my nothing is going on in the background. I'm in the same spot that I always am. I always am in. I'm not sure. Let me mute myself and unmute. I hope that makes things better. But let's get back to it. So, Thunder and the Pelicans, 5.5 point spread. We know that the Thunder have been the best road dog of the season. Didn't even have to look that one up. I just kind of remembered that throughout the entirety of the season. This team plays well when they are road dogs. They have come into New Orleans already this season. They lost the first game of the season, but they did cover the spread. That was back in November. They also came into New Orleans and beat them 110-96 on March the 11th as well. They did lose both road games. They did lose both home games to the Pelicans throughout the season. So this team is 1-3 straight up on the season, 2-2 against the spread, 3-1 to the under. Those games are averaging about 217 points and are staying under by an average of 16 points per game. So I guess I'll just start there, right? I'm not playing aside. I feel like the Thunder can keep this game close. We know that the Pelicans are the much more experienced team. I kind of mentioned this a little bit yesterday. So I won't bore you guys with the numbers on the side because I'm not playing it. But I do like the total in this one. It already dropped a tad bit to 230 from the 230 to 227 when I looked at it earlier today and when I gave out the side that I liked. And what I played was I played the Thunder specifically, their team total to go under 110.5. I want to say that number is still available right now. Let me just check to make sure. Yeah, it is still available. The 110 is still widely available on a lot of different books right now. So this number is still playable. I thought that it might drop just a tad bit. The total has dropped just a tad bit from the 227 down to 226.5. So I think the books are anticipating games to be a little bit lower scoring, and that's what we've seen. I told you guys already, including the 2 games yesterday and the 6 games last year in the play-in, they're all 8-0 to the under. So that's a league-wide trend. Looking at these games specifically, so first thing I looked at, because SGA has kind of been in and out of the lineup throughout the second half of the season, I looked at the Thunder with SGA in on the road, and they're averaging 113 points per game across those 3 road games since the All-Star break with Shea in the lineup. They scored 111 in Toronto, so they barely got to this number. They scored 110 in New Orleans, so they stayed under the number even though they won. And they scored 119 versus the Jazz in Utah. And that was the first game after the All-Star break. We know Utah doesn't play a lot of defense, so you can kind of throw that one out a little bit. To me, what really makes me kind of jump in on this total, I thought about this long and hard yesterday. I said, man, I really wanted to play some unders because 6-0 to the under makes me think that these games are going to go under. You see in the playoffs and in the play-in, there's a different brand of basketball, right? Highly competitive basketball. Teams are selling out on the defensive end. They don't have as much on the offensive end to score and contribute, right? We saw it yesterday. LeBron had his hands on his knees a lot. Same with Anthony Davis. Same with Karl Anthony Towns. Same with Anthony Edwards, right? You just see it throughout the entirety of the game. So you get you don't get a lot of points in the second half of the game. So I think this one is going to be similar, right? I think that teams are going to go on droughts, specifically the Thunder. I think the Thunder are going to go on droughts in this game, and they're going to struggle to score. I think the lack of experience also comes into play. And we know that the Pelicans have been the 3rd best defensive rated team at home post All-Star break across 23 games. So nice little sample size there. 23 games is about a 4th for the season, little over a 4th for the season. They also have a better defensive rating at home, 109.5, than they do on the road, 112.8. So the defense gets even better at home, so I like that, than it does on the road. You look at the Pelicans also, bottom 10 in pace at home after the All-Star break as well. So they've been playing a lot slower. And we know the Thunder like to get up and down the floor, right? They push the pace. They're the seventh fastest team in the NBA. But, and this is after the All-Star break, I'm kind of looking at these teams through, just through the second half of the season, more comparables. Seventh fastest team in the league. But on the road, their pace actually drops to 14th. So middle of the pack offense when it comes to pace and pushing fast on the road. Also, Pelicans and Thunder faced each other 4 times this season. The Thunder have only scored more than 110.5 points one time, right? And that was a game in which the Pelicans were actually on the second leg of a back-to-back. So they caught the Pelicans in a really good spot. When you think about the defensive intensity that's going to be played in this game, and you think about the game slowing down, to me, I only look towards the Thunder team total to go under in this game. I think the Pelicans win this game. And even if they don't, I think it's a 108 to 107, 106 type game. And I kind of talked about the league-wide trend, so I'm not going to go through that again. The only thing I will say, the league-wide trend is just that totals have gone 8-0 to the under since the play-in started last season. And what I'll tell you guys is that the home team has actually held the road team under their total in 7 of those 8 games. The only team that scored over their team total that was on the road in the last 8 play-in games was the Atlanta Hawks last night against the Miami Heat. So I think the Pelicans bring it here on the defensive end. That's typically where they kind of hang their hats. I think the pace slows down, and I think the game goes under as well. But I specifically, played the team total. So Thunder team total under 110.5 is my favorite play of the day. Now I want to kind of transition into one player prop that I really, really like, and then I'll kind of open it up to anybody. So send me requests if you guys have them. I've already been talking for 40 minutes, which is way, too long for me to be talking. But the player prop that I really, really like in this game, it's a sneaky one, probably one that a lot of people haven't looked at yet, and you can play it 2 ways. So the first way is, and the way I played it is Dort, right? I'm looking at Lou Dort. His rebounds, crazy enough, we're sitting at 5.5 at minus 106. So earlier when I broke down the Bulls game versus the Raptors, I talked about, teams getting more rebounds, but I don't necessarily like teams to get rebounds. I don't like players to get rebounds that are guarding the primary defender, right? I think we talked about this earlier in the season. It might have been Wiggins, right? I think the Golden State Warriors were playing against the Dallas Mavericks, and we talked about how Wiggins can't get his rebounds because he's guarding Luka Doncic, right? If you guard Luka, it's really difficult to get rebounds when he has the ball in his hands and controls so much of that offense, has such a high usage. So Dort will be in a similar situation today, right? Because he will get Brandon Ingram. We know he's the best defender that they have. They're going to put him on Brandon Ingram to try to slow him down, which is going to put him out of position to get any rebounds, right? The guy guarding the primary offensive player typically goes under on their rebounds. Kind of the whole Luka and Wiggins, thing from last season, and even this season as well when they kind of defended each other. Also, Dort has only averaged 4.5 rebounds, 4.6 rebounds to be exact on the season. So he's not even averaging 6 rebounds on the season. And what I did was I looked back. I said, let me go check just to make sure, this makes sense. So in 10 career games against the Pelicans, he's never gone over. I'm not even going to say never, because never is not a good word to use. I'll say he hasn't. I don't like to use the word never. It almost makes it seem like it's guaranteed. But Dort hasn't recorded, I'll say that, Dort hasn't recorded 6 rebounds in any of his 10 career games versus the Pelicans. And this season, he's had games of 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds, and 2 rebounds. So I like that as my favorite player prop of the day. I played Dort to go under his 5.5 rebounds. I also played the Pelicans. I also played the Thunder team total under 110.5. My 2 favorite bets in this game. So I know I didn't have a lot of action yesterday, but I got some action for you guys today. If you guys want to join me on some of these plays, and I'll recap them, put them at the bottom, and shout them out one more time. But I want to get some other guests up that have plays that they want to share as well. So my guy Vaughn just joined. Appreciate you, Vaughn, for tapping in. Coop says, "Yo, Val, might get played off the floor. Pelicans play small ball. Makes me like Ingram rebounds. I couldn't talk you off of Ingram rebounds. Couldn't talk you off Ingram points plus rebounds. This guy has, he does everything for this team. I haven't even looked at his usage rate, Coop, but Brandon Ingram has been the real deal for this team, man. Even with Lou Dort, guarding him, it'll be a lot of pick and roll. Try to get him off of him. I couldn't talk you off at all, Coop. Shout out to Franklin for becoming a member as well. Appreciate you, Franklin, for tapping in and joining the membership. Daniel says that noise has been happening for weeks off and on. It's got to be some other device he has causing interference. I'm not sure what it is, though, Daniel. Maybe I'll look more into it. When I get off of here, I never really look into my technical difficulties, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm going to just keep it a buck. What up to Derek in the chat? Appreciate you. Humble B said Nikola assists over 2.5. He beats the line last 8 out of his last 10 games. Okay. What else? Alex said he played the under. Dort under 13.5 points. That was the other way I was talking about playing it, Jeffrey. So you could take Dort under his 13.5 points. You combine the points and the rebounds together. You should get under 18.5, under 19.5. I like that line as well. If you guys want to take and throw in Dort's points as well, I couldn't talk you off of that. I like Dort to go under his points and rebounds and his rebounds, overall as well. True said Miami gets knocked out tomorrow. We'll talk about that game. We'll talk about that game soon. LJ said he locked in the Pelicans and the Thunder to go under the 226.5. I like it. LJ got a total for us. Okay. Smokey said Grizzlies first half on Sunday. We'll talk about that game soon. Dort averages 3.5 rebounds a game against them. Yeah, I like it to go under 5.5. I love that he only averages 3.5. Humble B said he liked the play. Hopefully we go 3-0 today, man. I got a couple more plays than 3 though. So yeah, hopefully we go more than 3. I think I got 5 altogether. I'll like I said, I'll write them down. Appreciate you, AOD. What else? What up to Free Minds? My girl Allie. What's up, Allie? Allie became a member. Appreciate you, Allie. Me and Allie go way back to beginning of last season. Appreciate you, Allie. Any thoughts on Ingram assists? I feel like there is a lot of value on the under, but not sure. Line is at 7.5. I don't like taking him that high, J Val, but I will say that he's a willing passer. J Foul. He's a willing passer, and he can go over that number. Brandon Ingram could potentially get a double-double today. It just all depends on how much the Oklahoma City Thunder, really lock in on the defensive end. And I do anticipate that they will, because it is a do-or-die game. The winner of this game, like I said, is 1-2-3 Cancun. So, I think we see a really good defensive game from both of these teams tonight. I just decided to go with the Pelicans defense a little bit more, which is why I locked in the team total under for the Thunder. I might have missed it, but did anyone like Valanciunas rebounds? So people were talking about Valanciunas being potentially played off the floor, Daniel. He just doesn't perform well if you go back and look at his numbers. He has a major size advantage, but just because you have a size advantage doesn't mean that those guys on OKC don't know how to box out, right? They know how to put a body on people. They've been kind of giving it up. They've been giving up the rebounds to centers, but Valanciunas not so much, man. Not so much. So I'm indifferent on it, Daniel. I didn't play it. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. Lance says Herb Jones rebounds and assists is plus money, 7.5. Looks interesting. I didn't look into Herb Jones at all. I will say that he's been shooting the 3-point ball a lot more confidently recently, but I didn't look into it. No need to rush any action, Johnny. If I feel like I rush the play, then I just won't play anything. I'll just watch the game. It's a part of the discipline I always try to have with myself, is that I don't force a play, that I take my time and do my due diligence to come up with the looks, and that I'm strategical with it, right? If win or lose or draw, I want to make sure that I've done all my homework before giving out a play and before I play it as well, right? Let's see. What up, Free Minds? Okay. Let's get into it. So first off, we got my guy Stefan, man. Stefan is here to grace the people and share with us what he's looking at on today's slate. Stefan, what's going on, my guy? How you doing today, man?
We're doing excellent. Everybody's kind of still about them here a little bit, but I kind of agree exactly how you were breaking down perfectly about how this might just be a rock fight. In both playing games yesterday, proved anything is we saw a lot of steals and we saw a lot of blocks. Now, the look I have for today is the Bulls, since they got Pat Bev, everybody's talking about their 14-9. They actually have the second most steals in the league, so I kind of wanted to find something along those lines. So I did Pat Bev 1 steal, and DeRozan 1 steal for plus 150. Pat Bev has a steal in 8 of his last 9, and DeRozan has a steal in his last 7, including his last 5 as a whole against the Raptors. And also, I also looked at the fact that the Raptors, if you look at their schedule, their last 4 against the Celtics and the Hornets, I kind of throw those away because those are kind of just like playing out the string. No one's really taking the game seriously. So I looked at the 8 games before that. And before that, in 7 of the 8, the lead guard in like that kind of shooting guard, point guard spot had 2+ steals. So because of that, I took Pat Bev. He just strikes me as a guy who's a try-hard, who looks at this game and thinks that, oh, it's Pat Bev time. Pat Bev's about to win this game. Pat Bev's about to take the Bulls to the playoffs. So Pat Bev in his last 3 of his last 5 has 2+ steals. So I like that one. It's at 310, excuse me. So I took that for a full unit. I know he's getting 1. I just don't know if he's getting 2. It's him or DeRozan for the 2. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm usually always wrong. If I pick A, it's B. If I pick B, it's A. So I'm going to roll the dice that Pat Bev to get the second steal for 310.
Hey, I like it. I like it, Stephen. I like it a lot, man. I think yeah, I won't add too much, Stephen. I agree with you, man. I definitely agree. That's all I add. I add that I agree with you. I think that's a solid look.
Oh, and if you want to get really spicy, because I just have to take this, given how these playing games have looked and how I really think this is going to be a drawn-out game. I mean, the fact that you can get DeRozan and Pat Bev 2 steals each at plus 12-18, I think that's kind of a misprice right there. Obviously, I'm not saying it's a full unit play. I think it's like a quarter unit play. But these games yesterday just proved that it's going to get ugly. Shout out to my guy, Canadian Cam, with the extra job. He basically broke down. He's like, yo, Fred going to give away 1, so you just got to pray you can get 1 more the rest of the game.
I like it. I like it. I think what it is, Stephen, I think a lot of people, outside of, like gambling Twitter or people that aren't like coming into these shows, I don't think a lot of people, even still, I don't think that the market is really tapped into for the most part. Like, I don't think people are putting big money on defensive props. I think a lot of people just don't even know that they're there, right? Because you got to think like the number 1 sports books in the world, some of them don't even advertise defensive props, right? Like, we don't get a lot of defensive props on a big public book like FanDuel until the playoffs, right? So a lot of people don't know how to cap them. They don't know how, to even look at them. So I think that's like a more like you have to be tapped in and, kind of doing, listening to other people so that they can bring that market up. So you can be like, oh, you know what? I can like bet on a player steals or their blocks or they steal fluff blocks. So I think that's some of it. So I think that's a part of the misprice. And then as these games become more defensive, the odds are going to drop. So it's a good day to kind of jump in on, some of these props, like you said, Stephen, some of the defensive props specifically.
Yeah, and I think like a big thing, because to your point, I think that's why I've been killing PrizePicks so much, because that's the one inefficiency that they have. Because they offer things like they had Trae Young's 4.5 turnovers, which he cleared yesterday, and you could like just do it like, for example, you could put on like one of these PrizePicks like Patrick Williams 1 steal, which I really like. You could take it with Pat Bev 1.5. Like you could just build an all defensive lotto here. And if you go 3 for 4, you make bread. If you go 5 for 5, you can hit a lotto. And also their fantasy, they have like this thing like fantasy points. But the thing I know is the fantasy points, it's like if you have a guy who thinks that a lot of steal, like 1 steals 3 points. So I don't think they've like kind of adjusted the fact that, yeah, dude come out here and get 3 steals, like he's gonna kill his line.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, and so is a guy who it's in my mentions. I got to go back and look at it, but he talked about a lot of the he didn't talk about any of the points, right? Because we talked about how points, somebody's gonna go under and kill your parlay if you got a whole bunch of point props to go over. But he parlayed all of the rebounds and all of the assist props that we talked about yesterday, and it was the low points, right? I think it might have been like Sadiq Bey to go over his 7.5, and Kyle Lowry to go over his 8.5 or whatever their numbers were sitting at, and he took it with Jimmy Butler assists, right? And he took it with Bam, not Bam, Clint Capella rebounds, right? And I think he cashed like a plus 2,600 yesterday because he kind of avoided those just high dollar premium price player props to go over when we talk about like points specifically. So I couldn't agree more, Stephen. I think it's the same thing with the defensive props too, bro.
Dang, shout out, Stan. All right, y'all. I'll go down and listen. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, Stephen. Absolutely, bro. Appreciate you sharing the looks as well. Really like those looks as well. So I talked about this, and I'm actually gonna put it at the bottom right now so the people on YouTube can see it. The play that I made in the YouTube video earlier for my members was the Oklahoma City Thunder team total to go under 110.5. That number is still widely available on all books. So if you like it, best of luck. Let's cash it together. Also, in that same game, I like Dort to go under his 5.5 rebounds. He will be guarding Brandon Ingram. When Brandon Ingram goes to the bench, he's probably going to go to the bench. And if he doesn't, he'll be guarding CJ McCollum. So it shouldn't be a lot of rebound opportunities for him tonight. It should probably put him outside of being able to get a lot of rebounds. So I played Dort to go under his 5.5 rebounds. I like that it's not juiced. And Patrick Williams over his 7.5 points. Like I said, I think he's going to be in the game as long as he can stay out of foul trouble trying to guard Pascal Siakam. I think he could easily get over his 7.5 points as well in a game that we probably won't see a lot of points in. Jakob Poeltl over his 11.5 points as well, and Vucevic over his 10.5 rebounds. Could be a big rebounding game for Nikola Vucevic tonight, taking on the Toronto Raptors, especially with him being their best rebounder. So those are the player props that I like. I will say this: I didn't play the player props as heavily as I played the team total under. So the under for me was I'll just keep everything in unit size. So the under for me was the Oklahoma City team total under was like a 1 unit play. Patrick Williams was like a half unit play. Jakob Poeltl, half unit play. Vucevic, half unit play. Dort, more like a 7.75 unit play because I do like Dort to go under 5.5 rebounds as my favorite player prop of the day. I went a little bit lighter on everything else. So 4, what was that? 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 5? 5 plays for me after having none yesterday, man. Hopefully we go 5-0. I really do like all these looks that I kind of gave you guys and that I shared. So I don't have any more requests. I know it's 325 people in here. A lot of people probably just busy. And I'm fine with ending the show early. Totally fine for me. I will more than likely watch these games in their entirety as long as I don't fall asleep. And like I said, if I see anything live that I like, I'll shoot it out to you guys if you are a member on YouTube. And I appreciate everybody for joining me as well today. Let's see real quick. Let me get to Vaughn. Anybody else got anything? Just let me know. Before I get to Vaughn, let me catch up in the chat real quick. Looks like Brittany says she likes Josh Giddey for assists with Brandon Ingram 20 points. Dort to go under 18.5. Brandon Ingram over 3.5 assists. CJ McCollum 15 points. Josh Giddey 10 points. What do you think, Chris? I think that's a lot, Brittany. Best of luck to you. I would need to look at all of those numbers. I can't do that off the top of my head, but I hope you cash it if you put that ticket in, Brittany. Everyone stop what you're doing and hit the like button. Appreciate you, JC, for encouraging people to hit the like button for me. It does help me out, and I appreciate it a lot. Would I still take Dort under 5.5 rebounds? That's the number that I gave out, Josh. 5.5 is the number that I like. I played Dort rebounds under 5.5 this morning. I got the number at minus 106. So minus 106. And those, if you are a member, I will be putting those in the chat as well. So you guys have those. Yeah, I get off my girl Ali in the chat, man. Franklin says tough slate. I like DeRozan under his points. Not there yet. I would agree with that, Franklin. I think it's gonna be a tough game for DeRozan tonight, man. Let's see. Hendry says, "Hey Chris, I remember last year playoffs. A lot of BS with the way they would end up grading blocks and steals. Be careful with that market." Yeah, that is true. Hopefully, we get some clear and concise ones if you're betting those. I don't have any official plays on those, but I think that a lot of people are spot on with their analysis and thinking that the first game tonight between the Chicago Bulls and the Toronto Raptors is going to be a defensive game with a lot of steals, a lot of turnovers. I will say that the Raptors typically protect the ball pretty well, but Chicago is going to have to do that on the defensive end. It's a scrappy type of game. First team to 100 points wins the game. It might not even get to 100. It might be a 97-97 game. So yeah. Yep. What up to my guy S. 5-0 tonight. Yeah, let's go 5-0 and hit the like button for me if you guys can as well. Josh Giddey double. I didn't look at it, John, but if you play it, I hope you cash it, man. Can you join membership on your phone? You absolutely can, Kisser. You can join through your phone. I put the link up top earlier if you want the link. I'll actually post it again if you guys want to see it as well, just because I already had it copied. But shoot me a DM if you guys can't find it. It's only $2.99 a month or $5.99 to make sure you get the plays. You also get access to the ChrisBeCappinn 10 resources as well with with the $5.99 a month membership as well. That goes through every resource that I use to kind of handicap the games and kind of look at them. And people been reaching out, and I'm kind of working with people one-on-one because I do enjoy kind of teaching people, how I kind of handicap the games as well. And I enjoy that aspect of it. So I don't mind, kind of helping you guys out. Herb Jones 2 assists. I didn't really look at it much at all. Queasy Bo. But yeah, I don't even know how many potential assists he averaging, but I hope you cash it if you play it. Let me get Hustle up real quick. Vaughn dropped, and then we'll get up off of here. We'll wrap this thing up. If I can get Hustle connected. Hey, Hustle, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
I can't call it there. Same old soup, just reheated, man. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm trying to eat some of that good soup tonight, man. What's up? What we looking at tonight?
You and me both, man. Listen, I'm gonna just keep reiterating what you said. These unders is hitting, and they hitting good. So, lately, I haven't been making a lot of pregame plays. I've been just live betting, and it's really been working for me, man.
You breaking up, Hustle, if you can hear me. Yeah, Hustle, you in the blender right now, bro. I don't know if you can hear me.
Still?
Say something again,
Still?
Hustle.
Am I good?
Yeah, you good now. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, you good now.
Okay. Yeah, not to reiterate what you said, these unders are no losses, man. A lot of quarter, total game, and everything. The books are good, going for the full season of that. So, they're not adjusting to the numbers. Like even today, you got with the Bulls and Raptors.
Yeah, you breaking up, Hustle. Try to come back up if you can, or if you want to. But it sounds like you were saying that you you were just kind of reemphasizing what I was saying about the unders and a lot of the games going under. So nothing at all wrong with that, man. I think of course I would agree because I made the point myself also. So yeah, with these low totals, you definitely want to be looking towards the unders, man. John said he has Toronto money line, SGA 30, OKC one-man show. Okay. Best of luck to you tonight, John. And that's really, that's all I got. Like I said, the prop plays for me are half unit plays, except Dort, 0.75 units on Dort to go under his 5.5 rebounds. And then the OKC team total is a 1 unit play for me. Under 110.5 is what I like today. So no plays for me yesterday, but I do like these five props that I kind of got a chance to kind of dive into, man. Hopefully I can make some money. And if you guys are telling me, hopefully we can make some money together, man. Appreciate everybody for joining, coming through. Easy Money had the Jakob Pertl 1 block and Caruso 1 steal. Told me to write that down. That was given out in the Twitter, the Twitter chat. And then Patrick Beverly 1 steal and DeRozan 1 steal as well from Stephen. He mentioned that as well. So yeah, hour and 4 minutes in the books. I gave you guys everything that I like as far as deciding the total. And then, like I said, if it is anything live that I like, I will be sharing that over on the YouTube page as well. And I appreciate you guys for coming through as always, man. Hit the like button for me as you guys leave. And best of luck to you guys on all your action. I will be back tomorrow to talk about the games that we have tomorrow as well. So hope you guys catch the night, and I'll see you guys later.